Hey babes, I'm Cynthia.
And I'm Beverly.
Grab your favorite drink. Let's sip and chat. Welcome to Tipsy and Truthful, the podcast.
Period. Hi, welcome to Tipsy and Truthful, the podcast. We are the podcast where two best friends sip and chat about life, relationships, parenthood, and everything in between. I'm your host, Beverly.
And I'm Cynthia.
And I want to talk about why we started this podcast first. So we've been best friends since we can remember. My mom and her mom, they met through their husbands, my dad and my dad. I think they met at, whose baby shower was it?
Yours.
When I was in my mom's belly, they met. They became best friends, and it's been pretty much history since then. Yeah. We grew up together as
our whole entire lives,
as cousins, as sisters, our entire lives, and we've been talking about wanting to start a podcast for a long time.
I think, but in the last year, it's been.
It's okay, but in the last
year, it's been very serious, and I think it's because we've been on our own journey of like wanting to separate being moms and wives to having something that's just ours that has nothing to do with, helping other people, and I don't know.
It's about self-care,
self-love,
and having something. You can come in. Our producer Jessica is not trying to make noise. It's okay, come in. So we wanted to do something for ourselves,
for sure,
for fun. Something where we can talk about
and something we do anyways, because we do this, guys, every single day. Every day we decompress by talking to each other, saying how our day goes, and like even our frustrations, the first people that we go to is each other.
For sure.
And so I feel like a lot of people may not have that. We are lucky and blessed enough to have each other, and to have a very good circle of people that can listen to our tangents.
Yes.
So we wanted to make sure that for people that didn't have that, we wanted to share that, because I think also our views are very unique.
Yeah.
Because we've been on a journey of like self-health, journey of self-love, self-discovery, reflection, and it's been a very eye-opening, heart-wrenching,
all the above,
very emotional journey for both of us. Like we've therapy, like the whole night, guys. Like this is not just like we just want to open a podcast. No, this has been a development of like for our character, our person for the last year specifically. Yeah. Because we've been on this journey for a long time, but for the last year we've talked about having something that's just ours. That has nothing to do with our kids that we love so dearly.
We love our babies.
And our partners.
I love my boyfriend.
Our family. Like it has nothing to do with them. This is
we wanted something
ours.
For us.
You
not
know?
Being a mom, not being somebody's partner, not having to take care of anybody.
Having an identity.
Having an identity. Because a lot of times we focus so much on being good moms, on being good
wives,
partners, on being like career-wise, trying to grow and everything. We lose ourselves.
Oh, for sure. And that's something that we've had to go on this journey of self-discovery to find what the fuck, what our favorite color is. Yours is pink, but mine, let me just tell you, I found out mine was green like maybe 2 years ago. It used to be purple my whole entire life. You know this because my room was purple. But like one day,
she said
one day I was just in a kindergarten class and they asked me, "Hey, Miss A, what's your favorite color?" And I said green, and I was like, "Oh, I like green. That's my favorite color." Yeah, that's how I found out.
Side note. They said Miss A because she works in education, not because she's a student.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for the clarification.
No problem.
But this is very special to us, and like this is our project of love for each other and for ourselves. This has nothing to do with our children and our partners.
As much as we love them.
And we love them, but I think it's important to have that for ourselves, because this is the one thing that we can do for us.
Even though we will talk about our lives as moms and as
always,
and with our partners, this is for us.
Yeah, it's knitted into every part of our being. But I feel like it's important to have that separation where we could just be us.
Yeah, and have a couple drinks because why not? We enjoy a couple glasses of wine. Yeah. So, you are gonna see that we are wearing a different outfit today than we did in the first episode. let me tell you guys, we have struggled. Okay. We started this podcast not knowing what the hell we were going to do at all. It was just her and I, an idea, and YouTube and TikTok helping us trying to maneuver our way through all the ins and outs, how to make this into a video for YouTube, how to make the sound into a podcast for Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if it weren't for my sister Jessica, shout out to Jess who's in this corner over
who
here,
is forced to be here against her
reeled
will.
this bitch in. She didn't want to.
We don't give a shit.
She don't have
no shame.
If it weren't for her, we wouldn't have figured out how to do any of this. That first episode, it's on chancla culture or chancleta culture and on mom guilt. We talk a lot about mom guilt and what we go through as moms, trying to be the best version of ourselves for our kids. In that which we're gonna put in after this clip. We had issues with the video. At one point, the video stopped working, or the video only worked and the sound stopped working. And then we were able to get it to work, but only one mic was working. We had no idea. Only Cynthia's mic was on. So you'll hear I sound very low and distant in the background.
And I sound too loud.
But it was the content that we put out, the information that we
still felt like it needed to be out.
The conversation, that's the word I'm looking for. The conversation that we had was good. So even though the quality is not what we wanted it to be, we still wanted to show you what it's about. There is something I wanted to touch on. The definition that I gave in this episode wasn't 100% accurate. I was nervous. I was trying to read the laptop.
First episode.
It was our first episode. It was all over the
place. A lot of shit going on at the same time. So, mind you, I'm the potty mouth of the two, so you're gonna hear me swear. So, I don't know, suck it up.
They can handle it. We're adults. They can handle it, baby.
I swear a lot of shit.
We misspoke a couple times. We're not trying to dwell on it.
Yeah.
But we recorded that episode 3 times, guys.
Oh
the first time, the audio only worked halfway. The second time, the audio didn't work at all.
Yeah.
And the third time, half of the video didn't work.
And then at the end, the 4th time, I broke my leg. So it's just been,
my God. On the way out, my bestie over here.
Well, we finished at 3 a.m, we should just say.
Yeah.
That first episode, it
was like 5 hours.
It was so long, us trying to figure out the tech.
The lighting. How to put the camera on the right spot.
Our beautiful sign that we are so proud of.
It was
it was just so much trying to figure so much out. Our mics. We finished at 3 in the fucking morning.
Yeah.
And it
wasn't 3, babe. It was later.
Well, that's what I could recall. Because I had my child on mind you, my child is 6. He is a strong 54 pounds. And I had him because he had fallen asleep. His bag of shit, of snacks and crayons and iPad. And then my purse with laptops and all that shit going down the stairs. I fucking mistook a step. And guess what?
Yeah. She
fractured a leg.
Can you brace it?
I don't know.
Oh my God. Don't hurt yourself. Yeah. I don't know if you can see it in the frame, but she broke her foot. Okay.
Broken.
That's the memory of our first.
What happened to Cairo then? You were carrying him.
He was fine.
Cairo was fine. He woke up. That's what happened to Cairo.
And honestly, that's why my leg is broken. Because I knew I was going down and I held on to it. Because I'm like, if I'm getting her, I'm getting her.
Yeah.
The
mom instinct kicked in. She held on.
I hugged him. I was like, well,
and
I guess I'll break my leg.
The weight of you and him and all your stuff.
Oh, it was so bad. But thank you for the luck. I guess somebody said break a leg.
It worked. Thanks.
I know that this is great juju for us. So I'm fine with it, honestly. And it's fun,
Yeah. But this is going to be our first episode.
Yeah.
You're going to see, like I said, you're going to see the clip. We're going to just cut it in after this. I wanted to just put in the definition real quick. And mind you, I'm going off the top of my head because I had it written down. But basically, the chancla culture is what latinx communities have adopted as our culture of spanking our kids as corporal punishment. No, corporal punishment as discipline is what I wanted to say. And we keep saying that it's our culture and that we just do this because it's been brought down from generation to generation. The truth is, if you look it up, corporal punishment with spanking and stuff, it didn't actually come into the picture until colonizing began. So when the people from Europe and from Africa were transporting slaves from one coast to the other, we adopted corporal punishment as a way to get them to stay in line, to obey. Mm-hmm. And that, if you look into history, it didn't exist before that.
Yeah.
It started then. It was spanking. I think it was like wooden planks that were used back then. And we just adopted it and we accepted it.
Actually, it was more than just wooden planks. It was like latinxos and stuff, honestly.
That's what I found in my research. I wouldn't doubt it.
It wasn't confined to just wood planking. It was a bunch of like other whatever, I forget the name. Like it was a lot of different tools
used to discipline.
Yeah, to discipline, to have people obey and fear.
To fall in line.
Because at the end of the day, the whole point was for them to fear. Mm-hmm. If you step out of line, you're going to get spanked. So you would fear and always follow and not question why things are done the way they are done. And that's why, and this is just me going on a tangent, just because I thought about it. That's why a lot of people were angry a couple years ago with Kanye West when he said slavery was a choice. Because it wasn't a choice. Like there was no way that was a choice. It was fear, things that were so instilled in us that today is still instilled in us in so many ways, so many areas of our life that you don't even realize it.
To the point where we really think that spanking our kids comes from our culture. When you look into it, really, and it's actually from colonization. It didn't come from us. Yeah. Before that, the Mayans and the people, the native
Taínos for us.
Taínos they didn't spank their kids as discipline. Mm-hmm. It came from colonization.
And you guys can look this up. Like you can
Please do your own research.
Yeah, fact check us if you want to, but I'm confident in that. And that's what we found in our research.
Yeah.
That it has nothing to do with traditional way. Like if we go back all the way, it was nothing due to our indigenous people and also our African ancestry for the most part.
Yeah.
That has anything to do with spanking. That wasn't part of the way they discipline children at all. This was like brought onto us and learned from
and now we pass it down.
And now it's part of our culture. Mm-hmm. Now it's a part of our culture because it's been in our bloodline for so long.
Yeah,
for hundreds of years that now we obviously think it's part of our culture. But when you do the digging and you look at the dissecting of what history says, that was never part of it. Mm-hmm. And that's why I feel like in that episode, for me personally, for both of us, but for me specifically, I refuse to continue with that.
Yeah. So we just invite you to do some research. Whatever way you choose to parent your child,
it's your decision.
It's correct. Okay. I feel like every parent,
except if it's abuse, that's different.
Of course, every parent will know what's best for their child.
Yeah, you do
and
what's best.
when we say spank, we're not talking about abuse. We're talking about a hand to the butt. We're not talking about you whooping your kid.
Like beating them up.
Like beating them up. That's not what we're talking about at all.
Starving them and shit. No.
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about.
Not
I'm talking about un correazo, una pela, the normal things that we used to get as kids. Yeah. That was part of like disciplining us.
Part of our culture.
Yeah, part of our culture. But like the way that our parents also disciplined us at the time, like that's when we're talking about discipline, not abuse, because that's different.
There's a line.
Yeah. We're talking about not abuse. We're talking about discipline.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This is our first episode. It's a little different than what we had envisioned, but we wanted to share it with you anyway.
It was too good.
It was
for
good.
me.
What we
I'm proud
about.
of it. I'm proud of how our passion for it and our digging for it. That I feel like it needs to be released. So even if it looks different, even if it's not what we're expecting, take it and like enjoy it. And honestly, to be honest, in my opinion, give us feedback. Tell us what you think, how you felt, whatever it is that, may sprout in your feelings, memories, thoughts,
Do you agree, disagree,
exactly.
any thoughts, any way that you think we can improve on our future episodes?
We're open to that.
We're learning. Yeah. We thank you for your patience with us. And just enjoy the episode. Yeah. Thanks. Bye. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. We're back. We had some technical difficulties.
It's our first
episode. The sound stopped working.
Thankfully, we noticed after we were done the whole interview.
I know. Or the whole episode. We were done. But that's okay.
But you know what?
We're back.
We're rolling with the punches.
Yeah, hopefully we're gonna say everything we said the first time.
Or maybe we'll say better things. I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe that was the whole plan. Anyway, so we were just going into the definition of what chancla culture means, chancleta, for us Dominicans. And then we were gonna go into my mic is falling.
I think you guys can hear me loud and clear.
So we have a segment that's called Let's Unpack. It's just where we dive deeper into whatever subject we're talking about.
We're elaborating.
Thank you, babe.
My lead teacher would love that.
So I'll elaborate first. I just want to talk a little bit about my family and how I was raised. So I am the oldest of 5. I was raised by my mom and my stepfather, who's not really my stepfather. I consider him like
your dad.
My dad. He's my dad. He's my old man. So in my house, we were definitely spanked. As the oldest, I feel like I got a lot of it. I knowing how you were raised, I don't feel like I got spanked as much as you. I can't even tell you why. I don't know why. Maybe there was a lot of us. It was too much spanking to be gotten.
They were tired.
I'm the oldest of 5. That's a lot of spanking.
Yeah, no, for
That's
real.
a lot of butts to spank.
Yeah.
So, but we did get spanked. We also got punished, like you can't go outside, like stuff like that as punishment. My mom was pretty good. I feel like she was pretty good about having some conversations with us. My dad, not as much.
He was more like your mom was more Americanized.
Yeah.
Like in the sense that your mom got here young enough where she understood. She picked up what is the word?
Nuances? I don't know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I'm drunk. I'm a little tipsy.
You guys, we already recorded the whole episode and she had a few cups of tequila.
But we are not quitters.
No, sir.
Something about my best friend and I is that we're gonna roll until the wheels fall off.
Yes, we are.
So we're starting this like where we picked up, and who knows, this might be better. But anyways, I think your mom she came here young enough where she picked up a lot of that.
She tried.
I mean, your mom knew English. For the most part, compared to my parents. My parents didn't know a lick of English.
Yeah.
And that's why I was the in-home translator. And that was exhausting.
Yeah, I was a translator for my dad.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother episode that we have to go over. But my mom, she tried to talk to us. I feel like my mom and my dad were both in a place in their lives where they were maybe financially not where they wanted to be, emotionally.
Stressful.
They were stressed. They were, we weren't like dirt poor, but we definitely weren't well off. I feel like we had a good childhood. They gave us everything they could.
We had a good childhood because we had, and this is gonna be corny as fuck, but we had each other, man.
Yeah.
Our childhood was lit because our parents made sure that the things that we needed to be like complete adults, we got. Those experiences, those are special moments. Like we laugh still.
Have stories.
We had a beautiful childhood. We really had a beautiful childhood, and I can't complain about the childhood that we had in general. And it was because our parents made sure that the basics were met. I feel like because those basics were met, we were able to enjoy the rest of it.
Sure.
And
for us, there was definitely a village.
Oh,
like I never felt like I just had my mom and dad. Like I had your mom and your dad as other parents.
Vice versa.
My tia Mecho, my tia Eugenia, and her husband and my uncle Jose Miguel. Like we had,
and then we had all of each other, like a bunch of cousins, a buttload of cousins.
Like a lot.
Like too much. Like, but it was so beautiful to grow up during with all that. You know, like you were never lonely. And I think that made even the disciplining a little softer.
We were all going through it together.
Yeah.
So it was just normal.
It was normal. We got to talk about it like, that fucking bitch. Can you believe she spanked me? Can you believe she fucking spanked me?
It was part of life, though. It's crazy.
It was, and that's the thing.
Because you look back at it now, and you're like, yo, my mom really, she really hit me hard. She really messed me up that day.
It was mostly my dad.
Yeah. Like, for me, I feel like I didn't get it that bad. And it wasn't like... It was to the point where I just thought it was normal. So when I had kids, I had my oldest at 20. I was in a way different place in my life than I am now. I was really young. was in a relationship.
Ill-equipped.
I was ill-equipped, to say the least. I was emotionally, financially,
mentally.
I was just not ready to be a mom. Yeah. That's the truth. I can say that today. I have 4 children, and with each child, let me start over. My first 2 children was with a couple that I had, and he and I were together really young. We were both not ready. We were both rolling with the punches, and it showed in our parenting. Sure.
And in your relationship,
it showed. We were not compatible. We were not ready. That's the truth. That my oldest daughters did get spanked. My oldest daughters didn't get the same maybe communication and compassion that I have today. I have apologized to them. I still apologize to them.
And that's something we have to talk about, because honestly, she feels so guilty.
It's tough.
But I tell her, like, I only have one, but I know with the amount of reading I've done, research I've done, just my opening of my view of the world, you are not the same parent with every child you have. And the parent that you were when you first became a parent, became a mom.
Yeah.
And with all the things that you were lacking in your life, mental stability, financial stability, emotional stability, being in a healthy relationship, you can't blame yourself. The beautiful thing is that the girls, my goddaughters, get to see the evolution of their mother, because they've seen you grow up. And I mean, and for some people, they're like, oh, I'm not going to have kids until I'm ready. And I understand that, because for me, that was the case. Like, I didn't become a mom until I felt like I was ready, and I planned my pregnancy, right? But for some people, where it happens, like me, I feel like the evolution of being you become a parent and you're just trying to keep this child alive, to being a present parent.
Right, I was just surviving.
You were fight or flight.
I was literally every day waking up and just.
Are they alive? They breathing? All right.
Like really present. I was like,
yeah, you weren't present.
My babies are so cute, and I love them with every ounce of my being. I'm gonna dress them in cute outfits. We're gonna take cute pictures. Superficial. It was like for the Facebook. There wasn't even the gram back then. For the Facebook, I was just day by day. I feel like I never really thought about. This is what I want from. This is how I'm gonna treat my daughters today. So that they can feel this way, or they can.
That wasn't present.
This thing tomorrow. It wasn't like, okay, I need to make sure that they know that they have a voice, because when they're older, they need to know that they do have that voice, and that they should be heard by whatever, by other people, by their relationship.
That their voice matters.
Things like that. Yeah. It was just like, no, you have clothes on your back and you ate, you're good. That's where I was. That's the point of my life where I was. And then I got into another relationship with my current partner, a healthy relationship where we are emotionally more stable. We're financially in a different place. We own a business. We planned the pregnancies of our other 2 children. I have 4. I don't know if I mentioned that. 2 older daughters and then 2 younger boys. The mom I was at 20 versus how old was I when I had Jace? 27.
A year older than me. So, 27.
The mom I was at 27 when I had my first child.
World of a difference.
With my partner now. Completely different.
Oh, yeah.
The way I saw breastfeeding even was different.
Completely different.
Like, my views on even something as simple as breastfeeding. Like, when I was 20, I was like, yeah, I'll try it. And
that'll work.
It got a little hard, and I was like, this ain't for me. Like, period. And then with my son. With my son, I was like, no, I need to do, like.
I need to try my best.
For me, I think this is what's best for my child. So I'm going to give it my all. Even if it gets hard, I can keep, trying.
It's so different.
Everything was different.
Yeah. Because the thing is, and, going back to the mom guilt, it was hard as a best friend to support your friends when you're ill-equipped yourself because you're not living those experiences. And I tried my best to be as empathetic and supportive as I could.
I called you every 5 minutes
Yeah.
to ask you for advice. Even
Yeah.
though now thinking back, what advice would you be able to offer
Yeah, I didn't.
for me as a mom?
Because I wasn't a mom and I was in college trying to survive that, and that was a whole other ordeal, you know.
But I was just like, you need to help me figure this out, baby.
And I didn't mind because once again, our parents raised us to be there for each other. And I think it was important for me to show my support, even if I fucking didn't know what I was doing.
Honestly, I feel like we all raised.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like, they were raised in a village of, like, a bunch of, like, ill-equipped kids that were like, I don't know what the fuck we're doing, but we're going to try.
Let's figure it out.
Come on, and we did it together. And honestly, they were, and I think that's I don't want to take away the beauty of that, because I feel like even if you feel guilty, which she does, she feels mom guilt all the time, because when she became a mom, like in the recent years with her youngest two, she felt like, man, I wish I was like this with the girls. Yeah. And I'm like, but you couldn't be, because you didn't know all the things you know now, and you need to be graceful with yourself in all the things that we've done and learned in the last couple of years, especially. And maybe this is here, I don't remember, because let me tell you guys, technical difficulties. But like, we've done a lot of work with ourselves as individuals, as mothers, and as wives in the last, 3.5 years? It's been a journey of like helping each other out, realize we don't want to continue in the same path as the general public. No shame to you if that's what you decide to do. But we knew that we wanted to be different. We wanted to be emotionally, mentally sound for ourselves, our children, and our partners.
Not to say that I am.
No, it's a journey, and it's a never-ending journey of getting there. But I think that being conscious or tipsy, being subconscious of the fact,
being intentional.
Thank you. That's the word. Being intentional about being better people in general. So that we could be better people in relationships, in motherhood, in friendships,
in our careers,
in everything. Like, it means the world to realize that there's work to be done and that we can do the work. And I feel like telling her that constantly, even when I was lacking the experience of like, there's no way that you could have been a better mom, because at the moment that's all the tools you had and you did the best you could. And I'm saying this to the rest of everybody that's watching us that blame themselves for like I wish I was a better mom. Listen, the fact that you realize that now and you are trying to do better, give yourself the grace, because you have to understand, for the most part, the culture that we grew up in, the environment we grew up in, the lack of information and understanding that we grew up in had a lot to do with the way that we parented, the way that we built relationships, whether they were healthy or unhealthy. Like, when our foundation is lacking, there's no way we can build a sound home.
Yeah.
We were lacking the skills. The fact that you are building that now and that you realize that now, give yourself that grace and that space to do it.
Don't get me wrong. I try, and I work
sure.
on myself every day. Like, I'm a yeller.
Oh, yeah.
I'm at the point now where I don't want to spank my kids, right? So I'm working on it, but I still am reactive.
Oh, sure.
So I will.
But we're
yell.
human. We're human.
And I want to work on that. But not just for my kids. I feel like in general, I'm a reactive person.
Same.
Like, and I'm working on it with my children, with my relationship, out in the public. When you're in line and somebody wants to cut you and you want to react, like
traffic.
Like, I'm trying to be better.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
And that's all you can do. Like, as long as you're conscious about that, I think that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Constantly, like, work on it. Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I've decided to parent going forward. I have spanked my kids, but I realized, okay, this is not the best way. I want down the line, especially my daughters, because they're older and they're going to be in high school soon.
Oh, very soon.
And if they're, oh God, I'm not ready. And if they're ever in trouble, I don't want them to be like afraid to call me, because a lot of people confuse respect and fear.
Oh.
And it's like, no,
dude.
If you spank your kid because you want them to fear you, that does not
No,
equate
to respect you, because a lot of people spank. I feel like a lot of people spank because they want respect, but in reality, what they instill is fear.
Yes, I said it backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want my kids to fear me.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to be able to call me if they need me.
You want to cultivate a very safe space for your kids. Okay, I'm gonna go back to this and say a lot of people are like, los muchachos no saben. Yes, because think about yourself as a child and how you felt when you weren't heard, when you weren't respected, when your feelings weren't validated. Like, do you want to continue to repeat that? Once again, no shame if that's your way of parenting. I want to reiterate that I am not shaming anybody for doing what they feel is the right thing to do as a parent. In my POV, you know?
Oh, POV.
You know, TikTok. My POV. I just feel like for me, that's not valid. I want to create and cultivate a very safe space for my child to be able to feel that they can talk to me with anything. And they do. Let me tell you that my child, maybe it's because of his personality, but like he can't handle guilt. And like I don't even ask him. He'll come up to me and he's like, "Mommy, don't be mad. Can I tell you something?" Like because he's, you know, he knows that he can tell me no matter how bad it is, he can come to me and tell me, "Hey, Mom, I fucked up."
That's beautiful.
And I love that about our relationship, you know. And he does that with both of us, you know. Like I think that's
beautiful.
I love that. I wish I had that when I was growing up. Not throwing shade to my parents, because they did what they needed to do with the tools they had, the knowledge they had, the situation that they were living through.
Well, dig deeper into you.
Let me unpack my situation.
Let's unpack your situation.
My situation is like, so you came from 5. Right. For me, I came from obviously 2 parents that I had 2 older brothers, one from each side, one from mom, one for dad, right? But it was different because they were so much older than me that they were out of the house by the time I was an adolescent, like 10, 11 years old. My brothers were living on their own.
Not only that, but being the oldest
daughter
is a whole separate thing.
Very different.
It is.
No, it's crazy because I don't even like to think about this. We've been drinking. I don't like to think about this, but the fact that my brothers and sisters know that I am basically the responsible one for, God forbid, when my parents pass, which is something that it's I hate talking about it, but the fact that I know that I'm the one running the show because I am the oldest daughter.
Same, girl.
And it's been like that my whole entire life. There's not a moment in my life that I don't remember being responsible for shit.
Same. I have most of my family's important documents in my house.
Same.
Like
Please don't come to my house to fucking rob us. But like, what I'm saying is that I have, like you, I have a black box with I have tax documents from 2009. Maybe I should get rid of them because it's been 2009. You only need to keep what, 3 years? But what I'm saying is, like, I have my parents, my parents, my sisters. Like, I have documents. Like, I have birth certificates. I have passport. Because that's our job as the daughter. And that's exhausting. Like, to the point. And, you know, it prepares you for many roles in your life. It prepares you for having different hats in your life. But it doesn't take away how exhausting it is. You know what I'm saying? So being the oldest daughter, the oldest girl, you know.
The discipline is like a different on you. They have different expectations of you.
The weight of the world that I felt growing up was crazy. And I don't think it was intentional.
Of course not.
You know, because they don't realize that they're doing it. If you felt that way, then... But I mean, I don't think it was intentional. I think it was just the way of life, you know, because even today I hear about it. Like, you know, I'm the oldest daughter and I'm responsible for X, Y, and Z. And my brother had never had to worry about that, you know. And I think that growing up, being disciplined for what my sisters did sucked ass.
That's crazy. I don't think that ever happened
for me it did. Like life. I was 4 years older than the sister that follows me, and then so she's 18, I'm 33, proud. And my youngest sister is 18, so you do the math. I'm not doing that shit. I'm much older. Yeah. I'm like 14 years older than her, right? Mm-hmm. Probably something like that.
I don't know.
You don't come for me about the math shit. Fuck. But you know, when she was born, I was like 14, 15 years old, something like that. And being responsible for her, like literally being her second mom. Not intentionally. It's just that my parents had to work, and who was next in line? It was me, driving to daycare, picking up from daycare while I was in high school, babysitting on the weekends and after school. Like it was, all of it was always me. And this is another topic that we're gonna go into about being a latchkey kid. Look up that term. There's the research with that. I remember being 8, 9 years old, having to pick up my sister and walking home and like being home by ourselves. The responsibilities we had as growing up was ridiculous, but that also came in hands with the discipline. And I feel like, you know, being disciplined that young, that harshly, has a lot to do with the reason why I want to be a gentle parent with my child.
Was that like a conscious decision that you made?
Oh, for sure. I know that, first of all, with my child, his name is Cairo. And I love him to death. But like his name means in God's timing. And you know my story about like having a miscarriage before him and being distraught forever. Like that is so painful to me. Like it was the hardest time of my life because, you know, I had a miscarriage, and when you have a miscarriage, you plan your whole life with this child, and then it never comes to fruition, and you're like, what the fuck? So when Carol came, I was like very, like super, very like, thank you, Jesus, because I get my rainbow baby. But at the same time, because I get this gift, I don't want to take it for granted. Yeah. I want to be the best parent I can be for me and for my child.
It changes a lot.
My perspective changed completely. I didn't want him to feel like he wasn't important, valued, loved, like his feelings didn't matter.
Yeah. You were in a different place in your life, though. Yeah. You were in a place where you were married and you intentionally tried to form a family.
Oh, for sure. He was so intentional. We both wanted him so much because I think the loss of the first pregnancy was so...
It was devastating.
You know that. Yeah. I used to cry about it all the time for like a year before I got pregnant with Cairo. And so it was very devastating because, like I said, you form your life. Like you picture your life a certain way and then it doesn't happen. You're like, what the fuck? Yeah. The fuck is this? Scam, you know? So like when I had him, I was like, no, this is the child that I long for so much. And I want to be the best parent I can be, you know?
And I know that what you do for work comes into play.
Oh, for sure.
In how you parent your
because I'm constantly learning. I'm in education, obviously. Well, not obviously because you don't know that. Well, some people know that, but I'm in education, and specifically I'm in special ed. And my kids are on the spectrum, and they're like my second kids, and I love them dearly. Even though I'm a rough ass with them. But I love them so much. And I learn every day from like the people I work with who are like so important in my life. I love them so much. Whenever I leave, I know that I'm going to carry them with me because I've learned so much. And we work so well as a team, you know, because it takes a village. Yeah. Whether you're at work or in your personal life, it takes a village to raise children. And I think that what I do for work influences a lot of my thought process when it comes to disciplining my child, you know, because I'm conscious of the fact that yelling and spank, I can't do that shit. I can't do that shit at work. I'll be fucking fired and at fucking jail, you know? Yeah. But like I would never, like that's not the process that we use when we're disciplining at work.
What do you do instead?
Like you have to think about like what motivates a child instead. Like how am I going to get this child to do the things that is beneficial for him? Yeah. But in a way that is going to yield results. It's weird because it's like there's so many like...
Well, I mean, I can give examples in my house. Like my oldest loves fashion, loves clothes. So if I reward her for a good report card with some new pair of sneakers, some Jordans.
She's happy. It's positive reinforcement.
My second child, Liana, she loves money.
Yeah.
Like,
so you have to give her money.
She likes to just save it all up. So you want to see her happy? All right. If she gives me a report card that's on the honorable, she gets $50. She knows that. So she has an opportunity to make $200.
I do the same thing with Cairo, and he's in first grade.
My 5-year-old. He likes candy. Yeah. For him, you bribe him with candy. Like
he does what he
He does what
Yeah.
Like you wanna. For each child is gonna be a different way.
That's another thing, that not every child is the same. You can't. Not every behavior plan or like thought process works with every child. Mm-hmm. You need to cultivate a specific plan for each child because each child is motivated differently. Yes. And I think that's what our parents lacked. Mm-hmm. Going back to like the whole conversation. Our parents didn't, they thought, yo te quería así, tú tienes que salir así también. Like we're all so different and we're not all motivated by the same factors that you need to make sure that you're understanding what motivates each child. What discipline works for each child. Yeah. Like some kids need to be reprimanded vocally. Some kids like attention, like not giving them attention is like the end of the world, Aaliyah. You know, like being ignored is like huge. You know, like now having that attention is like, oh shit, I fucked up because my mom is not really conversating with me, talking with me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's another thing. Like we thought that my mom used to say, and it's funny because my mom used to say this, pero tú tienes 5 dedos en la mano y ninguno son iguales. You could raise a child the same exact way. You try to, but that it doesn't happen like that because they're so different that it yields different results. Mm-hmm. And you have to be okay with that. And you need to work around that. Like you need to know each child individually. And I only have one, but I know that when the second one comes, like he's not going to be I don't want to say caring because I hope that all my children are empathetic and caring. I'm just saying that things that motivate Cairo are probably not going to motivate the second one.
They could be completely different. You're going to be completely different.
Oh, so I know. I'm going to be in a different headspace.
The way you parented him as a 1-year-old is not going to be the same way you parent your next 1-year-old, you know?
For sure.
It's going to be completely different.
And you have to be graceful of the fact that when you have children, and I've heard this before, but like, you know, through our research and our understanding, when you have children, you have to also be graceful of the fact that your first child is also going through a transition because they're going from all this attention, all this different parenting to becoming like not second, but you know, like not being the first one, all the attention. And people like lose sight of that. And they're like, ¿y por qué ese muchacho se porta mal? Yeah. He's been like for my child specifically, like if I ever have another one, Carol's going to be like, what the fuck? Even though he wants siblings. But like, he's going to be like, yo, but I was number 1 for like 6 years of my life. And all of a sudden, who the fuck is this? Taking all the thunder. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be graceful of that because that's not easy either. No. That's a huge transition. And I feel like parents pop out children unexpected, like me? No, I'm just saying in general. I'm saying in general. But like people have children and don't consider how that child feels welcoming another sibling, welcoming a different parent because you're in a different headspace when you have another child,
especially a newborn, no sleep and nursing, or
but also financially, mentally, emotionally, everything. Depending on the partnership you're in, your relationship, like how that affects you as a parent. Mm-hmm. That's a huge factor.
Yeah,
people don't realize. Well, they probably do, but they like sweep it under the rug, like. How good or bad your relationship is reflects in your parenting.
100%. So when we were doing our research on this term, chancla
which for
culture,
us is correazo, chancletazo, pelchazo, cocotazo.
We actually saw some like interesting facts. So, brown and black people are more likely to be stressed.
Oh, for sure.
And more likely to therefore use corporal punishment. So the
spanking,
hitting, the spanking, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I have another fact here. There's no record of corporal punishment in indigenous tribes in Africa where we all people of color stem from. We actually adapted this corporal punishment thing from colonization.
Oh, for sure.
We were oppressed. And then what we did is we brought this oppression into our homes.
Unknowingly.
Unknowingly.
Yeah.
That's what we knew.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it comes
That's what we were
from-
taught.
Of course. It comes from you need to follow these rules or else.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do what you're told. You need to be where I tell you to be or else.
Mm-hmm.
That is not from our culture. That comes from colonization.
For sure.
And us unknowingly, we're just passing this on to our kids and
Because
passing
it's
it on
part of our culture.
generation to generation.
It's part of our
without
culture.
looking like really deep into it to see where it really stems
Historically, where it
from. I
comes
invite everybody to just do some research.
You'll be surprised.
You'll be shocked to see that this has nothing to do with us.
And I'm going to reiterate, no fucking shame if this is how you choose to raise your children.
Yes.
I'm just giving you my point of view as a parent, as a millennial parent, as a parent that's going through their own journey.
Right.
As parents
As
that
a
are going,
parent who's never spanked their kid, as a parent who's a former spanker who doesn't want to anymore.
and it's because I've been spanked. And talking about that, we had a poll on our Instagram page.
Right. Thank you.
And thank you for everybody that voted, because this is very useful. We did this because we wanted to see the consensus,
Right.
like of where everybody stood on parenting. And we said, so we had 4 different options. The first option was I got spanked as a kid and I turned out fine, so I'll whoop that ass.
So basically, you were spanked and you would continue to spank your kids.
Yeah, because you didn't see anything wrong with it. Once again, no shame. This is just like informational.
Mm-hmm.
And that was 60% of, we had how many people? Mind you, we're just starting out. We've been on this journey of like building this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So it was 45 people or something like that.
I don't know.
So 40 out of the 45, 60%, you do the math. My math ain't mathing today. 60% said, they got spanked and they would spank.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the next one was, I never got spanked and I would never spank my kids. And that was
You need to say it the other way. You need to say the 2 people that did get spanked.
Yeah, but I'm just reading it the order that we had. Like, just giving the percentage. So I never got spanked and I would never spank was 13% out of the 45, right?
Okay, so those are people who never got spanked as kids and they want to continue never spanking.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then I got spanked as a kid, me, but I would never spank my children. And that was 20% of people, 20% of the 45.
Okay.
We're still a growing podcast. Support our channel link. And then the last one was I never got spanked, but I would spank my kids. Mm-hmm. Which is interesting to me because if you never got spanked, why do you feel?
Where does it come from?
Yeah, like no shame. Once again, this is an open dialogue, open conversation. But like I found that interesting. Like, okay, 7% of you were like, I never got spanked, but like fuck that, I will whoop that ass. Like it's interesting to know like what would why do you think that would be more beneficial than the way that you were raised?
Right.
Like why that? No shame. No hate. That was just, I found that very interesting. And thank you for all 45 of you that voted.
Yes, thank you so much.
For sure. Like, and hopefully as the time goes on, those numbers will be bigger with any poll that we post. Mm-hmm. But I found that very interesting.
Yes.
So.
What were we going to say next? I don't even remember.
Honestly, we're tipsy.
Yeah, with the poll. I was kind of shocked. I don't know if you were.
Honestly, yes and no. Because I felt like most people were going to be like, yeah, they whoop my ass and I'll whoop my kid's ass. And I know, and I have a lot of friends that do. And once again, I respect their way of parenting. That has nothing to do with it. For me personally, when I talk about spanking, you remember the last time I told you that I got spanked and I always talk about it? How old was I?
17? You were older.
Yeah, I was 18. Mm-hmm. I was a legal adult. And I told you how traumatizing that was for me.
Yeah.
That was hard.
I think that's why maybe you feel so strongly.
Oh, for sure. My dad, and let me tell you, my dad apologized and still apologizes to this day for spanking me at that age.
Yeah, but he was heavy-handed. Like,
I mean, to the point that
he was spanked first and like asked questions.
Yeah, exactly. He spanked me and then he was like, call the police because I'm going to jail. And I was like, is this a trick question? Because I'm not calling the police, But like, it was traumatizing for me because I was just like, yeah, I'm never doing this to anybody. The amount of, first of all, embarrassment I felt, So embarrassing.
It was in front of people, right?
It's so embarrassing. I never wanted my child to ever feel that. I mean, and I understand that it came out of love because you know the situation, and I'm not getting into the situation, you know.
We should have one episode.
One episode later on, but like the situation, I understood, and honestly, taking the spanking away, I appreciate why my dad did it. You know, because it changed the course of my life, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The way he went about it, could have been different. You know what I'm saying? Because it was it was so humiliating. And so hurtful in so many ways. And I think you're right. I think that moment, unknowingly, I made that decision at that point.
That moment for you.
I was like, I'm never going to do that to my child.
I didn't have a moment like that. For me, it was more like progressive, like saying, okay, I'm spanking my kids, but the behaviors.
But it's not yielding results.
So like, what am I really getting out of this? I'm getting a kid that's.
You're frustrated too.
I don't like that if I'm getting close to them that they're flinching. Like, that's not what I want.
And not only that, what results is it yielding?
No, that's the thing. That's the only thing that I was getting out of it was, okay, if I'm near my kid and I'm raising my voice, they're flinching. Like, I'm going to spank them. Like, is that what I want, though? That's not what I want. So I made the decision of using different ways of listening more, of talking more. It's not easy.
And self-awareness, because I'm going to tell you, Cairo, my child, is so, like, he is so self-aware that he will tell me when he fucks up by himself, and I don't have to say a word. I don't have to say nothing. He was like, listen, Mom, I'm so sorry. Because I know that we were in the store and I was not behaving. I'm sorry. And isn't that more satisfying to know that your child is self-aware of the things that they're doing than you fucking slapping them?
Yeah, 100%.
No shame.
You have to see.
I have to keep saying that because I don't want people to feel. This is the thing. No. Once again, for me, it doesn't give me that satisfaction.
Babe, you're not telling anybody how to parent.
And I understand that, but I don't want anybody to. I understand that, but I never want anybody to feel a certain. Like, this is just my point. Like you said, this is my point of view.
People are gonna feel a certain way no matter what.
That's true. People are gonna feel a certain way, but. That's just, like, for me, like, what am I getting out of having my child being scared every time I raise my voice or raise my hand? Like, for me, that's not... The fact that he could self-reflect and be like, yo, I fucked up.
That's bigger.
I was a piece of shit today.
Right.
My bad. I made your life a living hell for the last hour. And that he can be self-aware of his behavior. There's nothing better than that. To me, in my opinion. Yeah. Better than fucking slapping them. In my opinion, you know, it's that they're not gonna be self-aware, and they're gonna just grow up being resentful.
Yeah, and that's another big thing too.
Being resentful.
What it does in the future.
I think, especially when you don't listen to your child that harbors pain.
100%.
And being unheard and unimportant. Let me tell you, being an adult and breaking all that, like being confident, is a big one. Having your own voice is huge, especially in a career. And you know this because I'm in a new journey. But like finding that voice where you feel like you're valuable and your voice matters is very difficult. And I feel like that stems from being quiet, being silenced as a child because you're a child and your opinion and your feelings don't matter. They're not valid.
You had something to say and you had to sit there and wait until your mom would send her a whole 30-minute conversation.
Not my mom. It was my dad. Because my mom, and once again, I want to give my parents grace, but my mom was very understanding. But that's another topic we're going to have. Being a woman in a relationship where the man is the one that says what goes is also difficult. And I feel like that's what happened in my household where, like, even though my mom felt a certain way, she's like, your dad spoke, so I really can't say shit. Yeah. And I was like, bitch, in a good way. Like, my mom is all love, but I'm saying, like, you should have, like, I would speak up for my child. Because if I don't speak up for my child... different. But I once again, this is why it's important to have grace for your parents. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I would speak up for my child now. Like, if we have a disagreement, I'm not going to do it in front of my child because that's another. That was 3 topics in one, but like that's another thing. Like being on the same page as your partner, as the other parent, and not doing that in front of your child is very important. Like you can't have these conversations in front of your child.
No,
because then you're taking away power from the other parent. Right. And so they're like, you're not a team, so why the fuck am I going to listen to either or one of you?
Mm-hmm.
And that's important to also, what's the word? Protect. You need to protect that with your significant other, parent, whoever is helping you raise your child. You can't do that.
The
Delegating, I don't know, like.
No, that's not the word. You have to be on the same page. Is basically it. On the same team. The kids have to see a united front. Even
Of
if you
course,
disagree
it
about
takes
things.
a village. I'm gonna keep saying it
Yeah.
because it does.
It does.
It takes a village, and so when you're not on the same page, so basically going back to the disciplining, like because the dad was was who had to say, it was hard for my mom to stick up for us.
Mm.
And once again, my dad has apologized for a lot of this because he's like, growing up, I didn't have this. This is all I knew.
Yeah.
And I have to accept that and be like, you know what? I understand, but thank you for apologizing.
And what we do now is we try to learn
Avoid
from
that.
our parents' mistakes and try to be better. And our kids will eventually try to learn from our mistakes because we're never going to be perfect parents.
Hell no.
Ever.
Never.
So whatever mistakes we make, our kids will learn from those and be better parents to their children, hopefully. And so on and so forth. Because as time goes on, we learn more information.
Of
We
course.
learn more about how things that we do.
And if you don't
say
want to
affect-
learn information, it's because you don't want to. Because let me tell you,
Yeah.
all the journey that we've been on in the last couple of years has been books that we've read.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, we've read a lot of books, listened to a lot of podcasts.
Yes.
A lot, guys. Like, this is not coming out of an empty place. This is coming from years of like self-reflection, a journey that has been so painful to go through, where we've cried to each other about like, I can't believe I'm a piece of shit. Like, literally, like, and that's not easy to come to terms with. Like, I am a piece of shit and I don't want to be a piece of shit. What do I got to do to be a less piece of shit, and be a better wife, parent, human, friend, daughter, sister? It hasn't been an easy journey. And I think this is why this podcast is so important to us.
I'm not a piece of shit, but I do want to be better.
I was a piece of shit.
Mm.
And I say that.
You were never a piece of shit.
I'm just saying that I could have been better. Is what I'm
Everybody
saying.
could have been better.
Everybody could have been better, but like a lot of people are like, yo soy así, yo nací así.
No. It takes somebody
Courage.
really. Yeah, it
Takes
takes
courage.
It takes maturity to be like, okay, I know this is where I'm at right now, but
I don't want
these
to.
are the ways where I can grow. These are the areas where I can grow, and that's where we're at. We're just growing and learning.
My
every
biggest
day.
thing in life is to practice what I preach.
Mhm.
Like, I never want to tell my child to do one thing if I'm not doing that, because we said this, but pinky promises in my house, bonding. Like, I'm not gonna break a promise. It has to be life or death for me to break a promise.
And that's gonna teach him to be a man of his word.
Of course, because it's so important for me to be a woman of my word, to be a person of my word in general. Like, I don't want to promise something and be like, I'm gonna flake. Fuck that. Like, either I'm gonna have that tough conversation, like, I never wanted to go, and I'm fucking not going. But like, never to like be like, se me murió el gato, like,
Yeah.
I can't, and I don't want my child to be like that. So it's very important to me to, even in the toughest situations,
Valuable to teach him that.
to be a woman of my word.
For sure.
So yeah.
So we wanna end this podcast by saying, like, thank you for listening to us just rant. Thank you for
It's a beautiful journey.
for episode 1 out of hopefully a lot. We want everyone to, if you start reflecting and thinking back on your parents, give them grace. They definitely did the best that they could with what they had. Everything that they did, usually 9 times out of 10, is out of love. Whether
For
they went
sure.
about it in a way that you would now or differently. But yeah, we are all just trying to be better. We're all just trying to be better and trying to love our kids. That's
And
it.
love ourselves.
And
Give
love
yourself
ourselves.
grace, because I think that part of it is learning to love you.
Mhm.
That's not easy, because sometimes I'm like, bitch, you're crazy. But like, I think that you need to have that in order to love the rest of the world. You need to love yourself.
first,
And that sounds corny as fuck. Like, I love corn, but like, but like, it's for real though.
It's corn.
Like, it's corny,
No, it's corn.
but it is corny. It's chicken salad. No. But like for real, like you need to be. And the word of the day is graceful.
Yeah, word of the day.
You need to be graceful with yourself and with the things you're learning and the things you've experienced. And if you find that you want to make a change, fucking do it. And don't feel bad about not doing it earlier.
No, just start from today. And if you mess up tomorrow, just do it again the following day.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. Well, thank you.
Our daily affirmation.
Yeah. What do you want to say? We want to try to do a daily affirmation, something positive that we can leave at the end of each episode.
A little nugget of hope, of positivity.
Nugget. Oh, can we call it a little nugget?
Yeah, positivity.
Okay, go ahead. Can you
my nugget of the day is that you are what your child needs. You are who your child needs.
Yes.
You are the person that your child and your family needs. If you don't have children, because I don't want to just be like just for parents, you are the person you're supposed to be right now.
As you are.
Yeah. And you're important, you're valuable. Your feelings are valid. Your thoughts are valid. Your insecurities are valid. All those things.
Well, if you can, please go to our Instagram page and follow us. I don't even know if we have any posts yet. Like, this is super new, but any posts that we have.
I see people doing this. Like, subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Is that a thing where you say that?
I don't know. That's
do all that.
Yuck.
Do all the stuff, please.
Do all the stuff.
Help us out here.
We're the older millennials, so.
Speak for yourself. Super young. So yeah, we have an Instagram, Tipsy and Truthful Podcast. We have a YouTube channel if you're watching us.
We're gonna link everything though.
Yeah, we're gonna link everything. If you are listening to us, Spotify, Apple,
whatever else.
Apple Podcasts. Rate us. Come back for more. We will be giving you an episode every week. So
we haven't decided the day.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we're working
on everything. But thank you so much. We love you.